Katie Miller loved mornings on Haven's Rest. The 8-year-old girl always woke up early to watch the twin suns rise over the purple mountains. She would sit by her bedroom window with her pet creature Pip, a small furry animal that looked like a cross between a cat and a rabbit. Pip had bright blue fur and made soft chirping sounds when he was happy. "Good morning, Pip," Katie whispered, scratching behind his pointed ears. "Want to go exploring today?" Pip chirped softly and nuzzled her hand. Katie smiled and got dressed in her favorite clothes, a yellow shirt and blue pants that her mother Linda had sewn for her. She tied her brown hair back with a red ribbon and grabbed her small backpack. The Miller family lived on a quiet part of Haven's Rest, far from the big towns. Their home was next to a terraforming station where Katie's father John worked. The station helped make the planet's air better for humans to breathe. John had been working there for 5 years. Ever since they moved to Haven's Rest. Katie ran downstairs to the kitchen where her parents were having breakfast. John Miller was a tall man with kind eyes and gentle hands. He worked hard every day to make their new world a better place. Linda Miller was smaller than her husband, but she was strong and smart. She used to work for the human colonial navy before Katie was born. "Morning, sweetheart," Linda said, giving Katie a hug. "What are your plans today?" "Pip and I want to look for the singing flowers," Katie said, sitting down at the table. "I heard them yesterday near the old ridge." John poured Katie a glass of milk. "Stay close to home, okay? And take your comm device." "I will, Dad." Katie ate her breakfast quickly. She was excited to explore. Haven's Rest had so many strange and beautiful things. There were trees with silver leaves that made music in the wind. There were rocks that glowed soft colors at night. And somewhere out there were flowers that sang when the morning light touched them. After breakfast, Katie put on her small backpack and clipped her comm device to her belt. Pip jumped onto her shoulder, his favorite place to ride. They walked outside into the warm morning air. The terraforming station hummed quietly in the distance. Big machines worked day and night to make the air perfect for humans. John waved from the control room window. Katie waved back and started walking toward the purple mountains. She had been walking for about an hour when she saw something strange. There were new machines in a valley that she had never seen before. They were bigger than her father's terraforming equipment and made different sounds. The machines were dark gray and had sharp edges. "That's weird, Pip," Katie said. "Dad never told me about new machines." Pip made a worried chirping sound and pressed closer to Katie's neck. Animals were often better at sensing danger than humans. Katie walked closer to get a better look. The machines were digging big holes in the ground. Strange creatures in metal suits were operating the equipment. They were tall and thin with long arms and legs. Their skin was pale green, and they had large black eyes. Katie had never seen aliens like these before. Most of the aliens who visited Haven's Rest were friendly traders who came to the main towns. These creatures looked different. They moved quickly and seemed nervous, like they were trying to hide something. One of the aliens noticed Katie standing on the ridge above them. It pointed at her and made sharp clicking sounds. Other aliens stopped their work and looked up at the little human girl. Katie felt scared. Pip was making frightened noises and trying to hide in her hair. She started to back away, but more aliens appeared behind her. They had been hiding in the rocks. The aliens surrounded Katie. They were much taller than her, and their metal suits made them look even bigger. One of them, who seemed to be the leader, stepped forward. It had extra metal decorations on its suit and carried a strange weapon. "Human child," the leader said in broken human language. "You see nothing here." Katie's heart was beating fast. I was just looking for singing flowers. I didn't mean to bother you." The leader turned to the other aliens and made clicking sounds. Katie didn't understand their language, but she could tell they were arguing about something. Some of them kept pointing at her. "Please," Katie said, "I won't tell anyone. I just want to go home." The leader looked at Katie for a long moment. Its black eyes showed no kindness. It made a decision that would change everything. "Human child knows too much," the leader said. "Security risk must be eliminated." Katie didn't understand what eliminated meant, but she knew it was bad. She tried to run, but the aliens were too fast. One of them grabbed her arm with a metal hand that was too strong for her to break free. "Let me go." Katie cried, "I want my mom and dad." The leader raised its weapon. The other aliens stepped back. Katie saw a bright light building up inside the weapon. She closed her eyes tight and thought about her parents. The weapon fired. Pain exploded through Katie's small body. She screamed and fell to the ground. The alien's weapon wasn't meant to kill quickly. It was designed to cause suffering. Katie writhed on the rocky ground, barely conscious. The aliens quickly packed up their equipment. The leader looked down at Katie one. "Last time, no witnesses," it said. "Zephyrian Trade Consortium protects its interests." They left Katie bleeding and broken on the cold rocks. Pip, who had been thrown clear when Katie fell, crept back to his friend. The little creature pressed against Katie's face and made soft, worried sounds. Miles away, Linda Miller was working in their garden when she felt something wrong. Mothers often have a special sense about their children. She looked toward the mountains and felt a chill in her heart. "John," she called to her husband. "Something's wrong with Katie." John came running from the terraforming station. "What do you mean?" "I don't know, but we need to find her. Now." They grabbed their emergency supplies and started toward the mountains. John carried a medical kit, and Linda brought her old military scanner. They followed Katie's favorite walking path. Calling her name God, it took them 2 hours to find her. Katie was lying very still next to a large rock. Pip was curled up beside her, refusing to leave. When Linda saw her daughter's condition, she screamed, "John," knelt beside Katie, and checked for signs of life. She was barely breathing. Her small body was covered in burns from the alien weapon. "She's alive," he whispered, "but barely." Linda was already on her cum device, calling for emergency help. Her military training kicked in. She took pictures of Katie's injuries and scanned the area for evidence. She found strange footprints and energy readings that didn't match human technology. "Aliens did this," Linda said, her voice cold with anger. "They hurt our baby." John carefully lifted Katie and started carrying her toward home. Every step was agony, knowing that his little girl was dying in his arms. "Hold on, sweetheart," he whispered. "Daddy's got you." Linda followed, still scanning and recording evidence. She had served in the Colonial Navy for 10 years. She knew how to document a crime scene, and she knew how to send messages that would bring help. As they rushed toward the medical center, Linda was already composing a message in her head. It would go to her brother Ryan, who was a captain in the Navy. It would use old military codes that meant family emergency. The message would be simple. "They hurt Katie. Come home." Linda didn't know it yet, but those 5 words would start the biggest human military operation in recent memory. The aliens who hurt Katie Miller had made the worst mistake of their lives. They had hurt a human child. Dr. Amy Walsh had been working on Haven's Rest for 3 years. She had seen broken bones, burns from terraforming accidents, and even alien diseases. But she had never seen anything like Katie Miller's injuries. "Get me the trauma kit," she told her assistant, "and prepare the surgery room. This is bad." Katie lay on the medical table, so small and still. Her parents stood beside her, holding hands and trying not to cry. John's clothes were stained with his daughter's blood. Linda's face was hard with anger and grief. Dr. Walsh worked quickly. She had been a military doctor before coming to Haven's Rest. She knew weapon injuries when she saw them. This wasn't an accident, she said quietly. Someone did this on purpose. We know, Linda said. I found alien footprints at the scene, and energy readings from weapons I've never seen before. The doctor connected Katie to life support machines. Tubes and wires surrounded the little girl. Her breathing was shallow, and her heartbeat was weak. She's fighting, Dr. Walsh said, but her injuries are severe. Whoever did this wanted her to suffer. Linda felt sick. Who would want to hurt a child? Katie had never done anything wrong in her life. She loved flowers and animals, and helping her father in the garden. She was innocent and kind and brave. Can you save her? John asked. I'm going to try, Dr. Walsh said, but I need to send for better equipment. The injuries are beyond what our small medical center can handle. Linda nodded. She was already thinking about the messages she needed to send. Her brother Ryan was a Navy captain. He would know what to do. And she had other contacts from her military days. People who cared about Justice Dot while Dr. Walsh worked on Katie. Linda went to the communication center. She sat down at the quantum relay terminal and began typing. Her fingers moved quickly over the keys, entering codes she hadn't used in years. Message was short but powerful. Family emergency code 7. They hurt Katie. Come home. Linda Shee sent the message to 3 different addresses. One went to her brother Ryan Brooks, captain of the patrol ship UCS Defiance. One went to Admiral Helen Carter, who had been Katie's godmother since birth. The third went to Colonel Jake Murphy, an old friend who commanded a Marine battalion. Linda used old military encryption codes that would tell her friends this was serious. Code 7 meant a family member was dying. The codes would make sure. Her message got through quickly, even across the vastness of Space Dot. After sending the messages, Linda returned to the medical center. Katie was in surgery now. Dr. Walsh was working with 2 other doctors who had come from the main colony. They were doing everything they could. John sat in the waiting room, staring at the floor. He looked like he had aged 10 years in the past. Few hours. I should have been there, he said. I should have protected her. This isn't your fault, Linda said, sitting beside him. Katie was exploring, like she always does. We couldn't have known there were hostile aliens in the area. But why would they hurt her? She's just a child. Linda thought about the evidence she had collected. The alien footprints were from a species she didn't recognize. The energy readings showed advanced mining equipment. I think they were doing something illegal, she said. Katie probably saw something she wasn't supposed to see. So they tried to kill her? Yes. Linda's voice was cold, and they're going to pay for it. 3 star systems away, Captain Ryan Brooks was reviewing patrol reports when his communication officer brought him an urgent message. Ryan was a career Navy officer, tough and experienced. He had fought in the border wars and earned several medals for bravery. Sir, we have a priority message from your sister, the officer said. It's encrypted with family emergency codes. Ryan read the message and felt his blood turn to ice. Katie was his only niece, and he loved her like his own daughter. He visited the Miller family whenever his ship was in the area. Katie always ran to meet him, laughing and asking about his adventures in space. Navigation, Ryan called out. Plot. A course for Haven's Rest. Maximum speed. Sir, we're supposed to patrol the outer rim, his first officer said. Haven's Rest. No. Ryan's voice left no room for argument. And send a message to Fleet Command. Tell them we have a family emergency. The UCS Defiance changed course immediately. The ship's powerful engines pushed it toward the Haven's Rest system at top speed. Ryan paced the bridge, thinking about Katie's bright smile and curious questions. Someone had hurt her badly enough that Linda was calling for help. Linda Miller was many things, but she wasn't someone who panicked easily. If she was sending family emergency codes, then Katie was in real danger. 2 systems away, Admiral Helen Carter was in a meeting with other fleet commanders when her aide brought her Linda's message. Helen had served with Linda in the Colonial Navy years ago. They had been friends long before Linda married John Miller and moved to Haven's Rest. Helen was also Katie's godmother. She had held the baby girl when she was born. She had taught Katie how to play chess during her last visit. Katie called her Aunt Helen and always wanted to hear stories about space battles and alien worlds. "Gentlemen," Helen said, standing from the conference table, "this meeting is over. I have a family emergency." She left the room without another word. Her aide followed, confused by the sudden change in the Admiral's behavior. "Prepare my flagship," Helen ordered. "The UCS Retribution. Full battle readiness." "Ma'am, what's the threat level?" Helen looked at Linda's message again. Someone had hurt Katie. That made them Helen's enemy. "Maximum threat," she said, "and contact Captain Murphy. Tell him the Millers need help." Colonel Jake Murphy was training his Marines when he received the message. Jake had served with Linda Miller during the border wars. She had saved his life twice, and he owed her everything. When he read that someone had hurt Katie, his face went dark with anger. "Sergeant," he called to his second in command, "prepare the battalion for immediate deployment. Combat loadout." "Sir, what's the mission?" "Someone hurt a human child," Jake said. "We're going to make them regret it." Back on Haven's Rest, the surgery was taking hours. Dr. Walsh came out several times to update Katie's parents. Each time, she looked more worried. "The injuries are worse than I thought," she said. "The weapon that hit her was designed to cause maximum damage. Not just to kill, but to make death slow and painful." Linda felt sick. What kind of monster would design a weapon like that? And why use it on a child? "But she's fighting," Dr. Walsh continued. "Katie is stronger than she looks. If we can keep her stable for the next few hours, she might have a chance." As the doctor went back to work, Linda sat beside Katie's bed. Her daughter looked so small, surrounded by all the medical equipment. Tubes helped her breathe. Wires monitored her heartbeat. Machines kept her alive. "I'm sorry, baby," Linda whispered. "Mommy should have been there to protect you." Katie couldn't hear her, but Linda kept talking anyway. She told Katie about the messages she had sent, about Uncle Ryan coming to help, about all the people who loved her and were on their way. "They're going to pay for what they did to you," Linda promised. Every single one of them. Outside the medical center, the sun was setting. The purple mountains looked peaceful in the evening light, but Linda knew that peace was an illusion. Somewhere out there, the aliens who had hurt Katie were probably laughing about what they had done. They wouldn't be laughing much longer. Linda's messages were already racing through space, carried by quantum relays to ships and stations across human territory. Soon, every person who cared about Katie Miller would know what had happened. And they would come. The alien species that had attacked Katie Miller were called Zephyrians. They were part of a trade consortium that valued profit above all else. They saw other species as tools to be used or obstacles to be removed. Trade Master Vex High, the leader who had ordered Katie's attack, was already far from Haven's Rest. His ships were loaded with stolen minerals and heading for Zephyrian space. He thought he had eliminated the only witness to his illegal mining operation. He was wrong. The Zephyrians had made a mistake that would cost them everything. They had hurt a human child, and humans never forgot, never forgave, and never stopped. Hunting those who harmed the innocent Dot in the medical center, Katie Miller fought for her life. She was only 8 years old, but she had the same strength that made humans dangerous to their enemies. She refused to give up Dot and across the galaxy. The people who loved her were coming to make sure she never had to fight alone again. Captain Ryan Brooks arrived at Haven's Rest 18 hours after receiving Linda's message. His ship, the UCS Defiance, came out of hyperspace at maximum speed and headed straight for the planet. Ryan didn't wait for docking procedures. He took a shuttle down to the surface as soon as they were in range. He found his way to the medical center and saw his brother John sitting in the waiting room. John looked terrible. His clothes were wrinkled, his hair was messy, and his eyes were red. From crying. "How is she?" Ryan asked. John looked up at his brother. "She's alive, but barely. The doctors say the next few hours are critical." Ryan felt anger building in his chest. He was a tough Navy captain who had fought in many battles, but seeing his brother's pain made him want to destroy something. "Who did this?" "Aliens," Linda said, walking up to them. "I have evidence. Pictures, energy readings, footprints. They were mining illegally on our planet. Katie saw them, so they tried to kill her." Linda handed Ryan a datapad with all the information she had collected. Ryan studied the evidence carefully. He recognized the energy signatures from the weapons. He had seen similar readings in intelligence reports about a species called Zephyrians. "These are Zephyrian weapons," he said. "They're part of a trade consortium that operates in the Outer Rim. They're known for breaking laws when it's profitable. Can we track them?" "Maybe. My ship has good sensors and a fast computer. But first, I want to see Katie." Dr. Walsh let Ryan into the intensive care unit. Katie was surrounded by medical equipment, unconscious and pale. She looked so small and fragile. Ryan had to turn away for a moment to control his emotions. "Uncle Ryan?" Katie's voice was barely a whisper. Ryan looked back quickly. Katie's eyes were open, just a little bit. She was trying to smile at him. "Hey, sweetheart," Ryan said, taking her small hand. "I'm here now. Everything's going to be okay. The bad aliens hurt me," Katie whispered. "They were taking things from our planet. I know, honey. But you don't need to worry about them anymore. Uncle Ryan is going to take care of everything." Katie closed her eyes again, exhausted from the effort of talking. But she squeezed Ryan's hand before falling back into unconsciousness. Ryan stood up, his face hard with determination. "Linda, I need you to send those evidence files to Fleet Command. Use my authorization codes." "What are you going to do?" "I'm going to find the aliens who did this, and I'm going to make them pay." Ryan went back to his ship and immediately started working. He had his communications officer send messages to every contact in the Navy. He used emergency codes that meant assistance requested for crimes against humanity. The first ship to respond was the UCS Vengeance, commanded by Captain Jake Murphy. Jake had received Linda's message and was already on his way with a battalion of Marines. "Ryan," Jake said over the communication link, "I heard about Katie." "How?" "Is she?" "She's fighting, but it's bad. The aliens used a torture weapon on an 8-year-old girl." Jake's voice got very quiet and dangerous. "Give me coordinates. My Marines are ready for combat. I'm tracking the aliens now. They left a hyperspace trail that my sensors can follow." "Good. We'll hunt them down together." The next ship to arrive was Admiral Helen Carter's flagship, the UCS Retribution. Helen was Katie's godmother and one of the most senior officers in the colonial Navy. When her ship came out of hyperspace, it was accompanied by 3 other warships. Helen came down to the planet immediately. She went straight to the medical center to see Katie. When she saw the little girl connected to all the life support equipment, she had to sit down. That beautiful child, Helen whispered. Who could do this to her? Zephyrian Trade Consortium, Ryan said. They were mining illegally, and Katie accidentally discovered them. So they tried to murder her? Yes, but they made a mistake. They left her alive, and now we know who they are. Helen stood up, her face like stone. I'm declaring this a military emergency. We're going to mobilize every available ship. Ma'am, is that authorized? I'll make it authorized. No one hurts a human child and escapes justice. Over the next few days, more ships kept arriving at Haven's Rest. Word was spreading through the human military about what had happened to Katie Miller. Officers who had never met the Miller family were volunteering for the mission. Captain Steve Davis brought his destroyer squadron. Commander Lisa Hayes arrived with her assault ship full of combat troops. Lieutenant Nick Adams came with a fighter squadron. Every day, more ships appeared in orbit around Haven's Rest. The media started calling it Katie's fleet. It was the largest gathering of human military ships in recent memory, and it was all for one little girl who had been hurt by aliens who thought they could get away with it. Engineer Chief Paul Turner worked day and night to upgrade the weapons on all the Yak ships. He installed new targeting systems and more powerful guns. We're going to make sure those aliens remember this fight, he said. Intelligence Officer Kate Wilson coordinated with human agents throughout the galaxy. She was building a complete picture of Zephyrian operations. They've done this before, she reported to Admiral Carter. They've eliminated witnesses on 12 different planets. But they've never attacked humans before. That was their mistake, Helen said. Humans don't forget, and we don't forgive. Meanwhile, Katie was slowly getting better. Dr. Walsh was amazed by the little girl's recovery. She's stronger than any child I've ever treated, the doctor said. It's like she's fighting to get well, so she can see what happens to the people who hurt her. Linda never left Katie's bedside. She held her daughter's hand and told her about all the ships that were gathering to help her. Uncle Ryan is here, and Aunt Helen, and so many other people who care about you. John divided his time between the medical center and helping coordinate the fleet. He used his knowledge of Haven's Rest to help the military officers understand the planet's layout. He also provided technical information about the illegal mining operation. They took thousands of tons of rare minerals, John reported. Enough to fund their operations for years. But they left behind equipment that proves they were here. Captain Ryan Brooks was leading the investigation. His ship's computers had analyzed the hyperspace trail left by the Zephyrian ships. They went to the Kepler system first, then to the Outer Rim territories. I think I know where they're hiding. How long to get there? Admiral Carter asked. 3 days at maximum speed. Then we leave tomorrow. Katie is stable now, and Dr. Walsh says she's out of immediate danger. It's time to deliver justice. That night, Ryan visited Katie one more time before leaving. She was awake and sitting up in bed, looking much better. Her color was returning, and she was able to speak normally. Uncle. Ryan, are you going after the bad aliens? Yes, sweetheart. We're going to make sure they never hurt anyone else. Good, Katie said with a seriousness that seemed strange in such a young child. But be careful. They have scary weapons. Don't worry about us. We have scary weapons, too. And we have something they don't have. What's that? We have love for you, and that makes us stronger than any weapon. Katie smiled and hugged her uncle. I love you too, Uncle Ryan. Bring them back so they can say sorry. Ryan didn't have the heart to tell her that the aliens wouldn't be coming back alive. Some crimes were too terrible for apologies. The next morning, Katie's fleet prepared to leave Haven's Rest. 57 ships of various sizes formed up in space. Admiral Carter's flagship led the formation, followed by cruisers, destroyers, assault ships, and support vessels. It was the largest human military operation launched for a single child in history. The aliens who had hurt Katie Miller were about to learn why humans were feared throughout the galaxy. As the fleet jumped to hyperspace, Linda sat beside Katie's bed and watched the ships disappear. "They're going to make the bad aliens pay for what they did to you," she said. Katie nodded seriously. "Good, but I hope Uncle Ryan comes back safe." "He will, honey. And when he does, the galaxy will be a safer place for all children." In hyperspace, Katie's fleet raced toward the outer rim. The hunt for the Zephyrian Trade Consortium had begun. 3 days after leaving Haven's Rest, Katie's fleet arrived at the edge of Zephyrian space. Admiral Helen Carter stood on the bridge of her flagship, looking at the star charts. Intelligence Officer Kate Wilson had done excellent work tracking down the aliens who hurt Katie. The Zephyrian Trade Consortium has 17 bases in this sector, Kate reported. They operate mining ships, cargo vessels, and armed escorts. Total fleet strength is about 80 ships. "And we have 57, said Captain Ryan Brooks. "But our ships are better armed, and our crews are motivated." Admiral Carter nodded. "Motivation matters in a fight. The Zephyrians are fighting for profit. We're fighting for justice." The first target was a Zephyrian supply convoy heading to their main base. Captain Steve Davis led his destroyer squadron in the attack. The human ships came out of hyperspace right on top of the Zephyrian vessels. "This is Captain Davis of the Human Colonial Navy," Steve broadcast on all frequencies. "You are under arrest for crimes against humanity. Surrender immediately." The Zephyrian convoy commander responded with weapons fire. The alien ships were fast, but they were no match for human military vessels. The destroyers disabled the Zephyrian engines within minutes. "Boarding parties away," Steve ordered. Marines in combat armor stormed onto the alien ships. They found cargo holds full of stolen minerals and evidence of other illegal activities. They didn't find Trade Master Vex High, the alien who had ordered Katie's attack. "He's not here," reported Marine Lieutenant Beth Moore. "But we found documents that show where he might be hiding." The captured Zephyrians were interrogated by intelligence Officer Kate Wilson. She was very good at getting information from prisoners. The aliens were scared of humans, and they talked quickly when she threatened to turn them over to the families of their victims. "Vex High is at the secret base in the Nebula system," one of them said. "He has 30 ships and thinks he's safe." "There. He's wrong," Kate said. Back on Haven's Rest, Katie was getting stronger every day. She could sit up for longer periods and was starting to eat solid food again. Dr. Walsh was amazed by her recovery. "I've never seen anything like it," the doctor told Linda. "It's like she's determined to get well so she can see justice done." Katie asked about her Uncle Ryan every day. "Has he found the bad aliens yet?" "He's working on it, honey," Linda said. "Uncle Ryan and all his friends are very good at their jobs. I hope they catch them soon. I want to go outside and play with Pip again." Pip, Katie's pet creature, spent most of his time curled up on her hospital bed. The little animal seemed to understand that his friend needed comfort. He would purr softly and nuzzle Katie's hand when she felt scared or sad. In space, Katie's fleet continued their hunt. They attacked 3 more Zephyrian bases, capturing ships and gathering intelligence. Each victory brought them closer to finding Trade Master Vex High. The Zephyrians were starting to panic. They had never faced human military forces before, and they were surprised by how effective the attacks were. Human ships moved faster, hit harder, and coordinated better than anything they had encountered. "The humans fight like demons," one captured Zephyrian officer said. "They show no mercy and take no prisoners alive unless they need information." This wasn't entirely true. The humans were following military law and treating prisoners properly. But they were also very angry about what had been done to Katie, and it showed in how fiercely they fought. Commander Jake Murphy led a marine assault on a Zephyrian mining station. His troops moved through the facility like a force of nature, overwhelming the alien defenders. Jake personally interrogated the station commander. "Where is Vex High?" Jake demanded. "I don't know," the alien said. "He keeps moving between bases." Jake showed the alien a picture of Katie in the hospital, connected to life support equipment. "This is what your people did to an 8-year-old human child. If you don't help us find the one responsible, I'm going to let her father have a private conversation with you." The alien looked at the picture and seemed shocked. "A child? We heard a child? You tried to murder her because she saw your illegal mining operation." The Zephyrian commander went very quiet. Even among his own species, hurting children was considered. "Wrong. Vex High has gone too far," he said finally. "He's at the hidden base in the Titan Nebula. I'll give you the coordinates." Admiral Carter received the information and immediately ordered the fleet to change course. The Titan Nebula was a dangerous region of space, full of gas clouds and electrical storms. It was the perfect place to hide a secret base. "It will take US 2 days to reach the nebula," reported the navigation officer. "Then we have 2 days to prepare," Helen said. "This is going to be our biggest fight yet." While the fleet traveled toward the nebula, the crews worked to upgrade their weapons and plan the attack. Engineer Chief Paul Turner had a special surprise for the Zephyrians. "I've been working on new targeting systems," he told Admiral Carter. "They can track ships even through the nebula's interference. The aliens won't be able to hide from us." Pilot Commander Nick Adams briefed his fighter squadrons. "The nebula will make flying dangerous, but we've trained for this. Stay in formation and trust your instruments." Intelligence Officer Kate Wilson studied everything they knew about Zephyrian tactics. "They rely on speed and surprise," she said, "but in the nebula, their speed advantage won't help them. It will come down to who can fight better in close combat." "That would be us," said Captain Ryan Brooks. "Humans don't panic under pressure." On Haven's Rest, Katie was finally well enough to leave her hospital bed for short periods. She sat in a chair by the window, looking up at the stars. Linda sat beside her, reading reports from the fleet. "Uncle Ryan is getting close to the bad." "Aliens," Linda said. "Pretty soon, they'll have to answer for what they did to you." Katie nodded seriously. "I hope he's careful. The aliens had really scary weapons." "So do we, honey. And we have something more important than weapons." "What's that?" "We have love. Uncle Ryan loves you so much that he'll do anything to protect you. So will Aunt Helen and all the other people out there. That kind of love makes people very strong." Katie thought about this. She was only 8 years old, but she was learning about the world in ways that most children never had to. "Is that why you and Daddy came to find me? Because you love me?" "That's exactly why," Linda said, hugging her daughter. "Love makes parents brave, and it makes soldiers fight harder. The aliens who hurt you are about to learn that lesson." In the Titan Nebula, Trade Master Vex High was feeling confident about his safety. His hidden base was protected by the nebula's storms and 30 armed ships. He thought the humans would never find him. "The human fleet is still days away," he told his officers. "By the time they arrive, we'll be gone with our cargo." But Vex High didn't understand human determination. Katie's fleet had been built for one purpose: to bring justice to those who hurt an innocent child. Distance, danger, and enemy weapons wouldn't stop them. Admiral Carter stood on her bridge as the fleet approached the nebula. She thought about Katie Miller, fighting for her life in a hospital bed. She thought about Linda and John Miller, staying strong for their daughter. She thought about the love that had brought 57 ships across the galaxy. "All ships, prepare for combat," she ordered. "We're going in." Katie's fleet entered the Titan Nebula, ready for the final battle. The Hunt was almost over. The Titan Nebula was like nothing Katie's fleet had ever seen. Purple and blue gas clouds swirled through space, lit up by electrical storms that could destroy a ship. The nebula was beautiful and deadly at the same time. Admiral Helen Carter stood on the bridge of her flagship, watching the sensors. Engineer Chief Paul Turner's new targeting systems were working perfectly. Even through the nebula's interference, they could see everything. "Contact," reported the sensor officer. "Zephyrian base, dead ahead. 30 ships in defensive formation." "Just like intelligence said," Admiral Carter smiled grimly. Kate Wilson's information was correct. The Zephyrian base was built inside a large asteroid, hidden by the nebula's gas clouds. Their ships formed a protective wall around it. But they didn't. Know that human sensors could see right through their hiding place. "All ships, this is Admiral Carter," she broadcast to the fleet. "Today we bring justice for Katie Miller. Remember why we're here." Trade Master Vex High was in the command center of his base when the alarm started ringing. His officers were running around in panic, shouting about human ships appearing in the nebula. "Impossible," Vex High said. "No one can navigate the nebula storms." "Sir, 57 human vessels are approaching our position," his sensor officer reported. "They're in perfect formation." Vex High felt cold fear creeping into his chest. He had thought the nebula would protect him. He had been wrong about humans before, and now he was wrong again. "Launch all fighters," he ordered. "Prepare for battle." The first wave of the attack came from Pilot Commander Nick Adams and his fighter squadrons. 24 human fighters streaked through the nebula, dodging electrical storms and gas clouds. The Zephyrian fighters tried to intercept them, but the humans were better pilots. "Fox 1, Fox 2, Nick called over the radio as his missiles found their targets. Zephyrian fighters exploded in bright flashes that lit up the nebula. The human fighters cleared a path for the larger ships. Captain Steve Davis led his destroyers in a direct assault on the Zephyrian defensive line. The enemy ships were fast, but they couldn't hide in the nebula like they expected. "Target their engines," Steve ordered. "We want prisoners for the trial." The destroyers fired with precision that amazed even the humans. Engineer Chief Paul Turner's weapons upgrades were working perfectly. Each shot hit exactly where it was aimed. Captain Ryan Brooks commanded his ship, the UCS Defiance, in a personal mission. He was hunting for Trademaster Vex High's command ship. When he found it, he opened a communication channel. "Vex High," Ryan's voice was cold as space. "This is Captain Brooks of the Human Colonial Navy. You hurt my niece. Surrender now, and you might live to stand trial." Vex High's reply came back filled with anger and fear. "Human, you cannot threaten the Zephyrian Trade Consortium. We have powerful allies." "Your allies aren't here," Ryan said. "But my family is, and we're very angry." The battle raged through the nebula for 3 hours. The humans fought with skill and determination that the Zephyrians couldn't match. One by one, the alien ships were disabled or destroyed. Commander Jake Murphy led the Marine assault on the asteroid base. His troops used special equipment to cut through the base's defenses. The Zephyrians inside fought desperately, but they were no match for human Marines. "Remember, we want Vex High alive," Jake told his soldiers. "He needs to face justice for what he did to Katie." The Marines moved through the base like an unstoppable force. They captured alien after alien, searching for the one who had ordered a child's murder. They found Trademaster Vex High in his private chamber, trying to escape through a hidden tunnel. Marine Lieutenant Beth Moore grabbed him before he could get away. "Trademaster Vex High," she said, "you are under arrest for attempted murder of a human child." Vex High looked at the human soldiers surrounding him. For the first time in his life, he felt real fear. "I demand diplomatic immunity," he said. "I am a trade representative. "You're a child killer," Jake Murphy said, walking into the chamber. "And you're going to pay for it." The battle was over. Katie's fleet had completely destroyed the Zephyrian base and captured most of the alien ships. 37 Zephyrians were taken prisoner, including Trade Master Vex-High and all his senior officers. Admiral Carter established a military court aboard her flagship. The trial would be broadcast across human space, so everyone could see justice being done. The evidence against Vex-High was overwhelming. Intelligence Officer Kate Wilson presented pictures of Katie's injuries, recordings of Vex-High ordering the attack, and testimony from Zephyrian witnesses. The defendant ordered the torture and attempted murder of an 8-year-old human child, Kate said to the court. He used a weapon designed to cause maximum suffering. This was not an accident or a mistake. This was deliberate cruelty. Vex-High tried to defend himself. The human child was a security risk. She saw our operation. She was a little girl looking for flowers, Admiral Carter replied, and you tried to murder her for it. The court found Vex-High guilty on all charges. The sentence was death. His officers received long prison terms. The Zephyrian Trade Consortium was declared a criminal organization by the human colonial government. While the trial was happening, Katie Miller was getting better every day. Dr. Walsh was amazed by her recovery. "She's going to make a complete recovery," the doctor told Linda and John. "Your daughter is remarkable." Katie was sitting up in bed, drawing pictures with colored pencils. She was drawing the singing flowers she had been looking for when the aliens hurt her. "When I get better, I want to find those flowers," she said. "We'll help you look for them," Linda promised. "But this time, Daddy and I will come with you. And Uncle Ryan, too?" "Uncle Ryan will be home soon, honey. He found the bad aliens and made sure they can't hurt anyone else," Katie smiled. "Good. I want to give him a big hug and say thank you." 3 days later, Katie's fleet returned to Haven's Rest. The ships came out of hyperspace in perfect formation, their mission complete. The entire human colony came out to watch the fleet return. Captain Ryan Brooks was the first one off his ship. He ran to the medical center where Katie was waiting for him. She was out of bed now, sitting in a wheelchair, but getting stronger every day. "Uncle Ryan," Katie called out, reaching for him. Ryan picked up his niece and hugged her gently. "How are you feeling, sweetheart?" "Much better." "Did you catch the bad aliens?" "Every single one of them. They're going to prison for a very long time." "Good," Katie said seriously. "But I'm glad you came back safe." Admiral Helen Carter came to visit Katie, too. As Katie's godmother, she had led the largest human military operation in years, just to protect one little girl. "Aunt Helen, thank you for helping Uncle Ryan," Katie said. "You don't need to thank me, honey," Helen replied. "That's what family does. We protect each other." The news of Katie's fleet spread across the galaxy. Every species learned what had happened when aliens hurt a human child. The message was clear. Humans would cross star systems and fight entire wars to protect their young. Trade Master Vex-High was executed 2 weeks later. His death was broadcast across Zephyrian space as a warning. The Zephyrian government quickly signed a peace treaty with humans and agreed to pay for Katie's medical expenses. But the most important thing was that Katie recovered completely. Within a month, she was running around Haven's Rest again, playing with Pip and exploring the areas near her home. Her parents were more careful now, but they didn't want fear to stop Katie from being a normal child. "The singing flowers are over here," Katie called to her parents one morning. She had finally found the flowers she had been looking for when the aliens attacked her. John and Linda followed their daughter to a small valley filled with beautiful alien plants. When the morning sun touched the flowers, they made soft musical sounds that filled the air with harmony. "They're beautiful," Linda said, holding Katie's hand. Just like you said they would be, John added. Katie knelt down next to the flowers and listened to their song. Pip sat beside her, purring contentedly. The little girl who had survived an alien attack was finally able to enjoy the wonders of her world again. I'm glad the bad aliens didn't stop me from finding these, Katie said. The flowers are worth the wait. Captain Ryan Brooks visited his family every few months after that. Each time he came, Katie was bigger and stronger. She still remembered what had happened to her, but she wasn't afraid anymore. Uncle Ryan, tell me about the space battle, she would ask. Maybe when you're older, he would reply. Right now, let's just be happy that you're safe. The galaxy learned an important lesson from Katie Miller's story. Humans might seem peaceful most of the time, but they became incredibly dangerous when someone threatened their children. No enemy was too powerful, no distance too far, and no price too high when it came to protecting the innocent. Katie Miller grew up to become a xenobiologist, studying alien life forms across the galaxy. She specialized in peaceful species that needed protection from aggressive ones. Her childhood experience had taught her that the universe could be dangerous, but it had also shown her that good people would always fight against evil. And somewhere, in human space, there was always a fleet ready to answer the call if another child needed protection. They called it Katie's Law: harm a human child and face the full power of humanity's vengeance. The singing flowers of Haven's Rest continued. To Mac,